Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Coffee Hour. If you don't know who I am, where the hell you been? My name is Paul Abernathy. I'm your morning host of Coffee Hour. It's the show that allows you electricians and sometimes plumbers to join me to get your day started, ask questions, interact, let us know who you are, where you're from, all that good stuff here every morning, whether you're on the drive like Adam to the job site or you're up on the lift, wherever you're at, share it with everybody. Have your fellow electricians join you for Coffee Hour. I've got my coffee today. Just a donut blend. That's it. Just a plain old coffee blend. Nothing fancy. No Starbucks for me, buddy. Just a regular old, just a regular old donut. I do K-cup though, so it is kind of lazy. I am wearing the Code Nerd gear today. There you go, Code Nerd. The big, bright, and this is really lightweight, what do you call it? Sport jersey that we have available. And it's brighter than it shows up on the screen. The screen, it makes it kind of look like it's not really a bright orange, but it is. It's a real bright orange, which is cool. And of course, it has Code Nerd on the back because we are Code Nerds. Here we are in the morning, first thing. Some of you don't want to admit you're a Code Nerd, but you're out there on the West Coast and you're watching. Dude, don't be in denial. You're a Code Nerd. You know you are. Okay? So, and hey, we're making Code Nerds great again here on Coffee Hour. All right. So hopefully you've joined us for the past week. We've been talking the basics when it comes to commercial, just little things to lock into your memory. We're in the second week of just the basics. And so last week we did basics for residential. This week we're doing basics for commercial, just basic stuff to help you, not going too deep into it. We'll wait until we get back into our normal scheduled programming to go deep. But right now we're just kind of going through some of the information. And by the way, all of this information that we're talking about in here is covered in our Fast Tracks programs. If you're interested in a really good exam prep or just learning the NEC in general, then you want to check out fasttracksystem.com. By the way, today's show is sponsored by the Trade Hog. Make sure you check out tradehog.net. Test it out, plug in some questions, use the ones that are there just to see the kind of answers you're going to get. And remember, you can always follow up an answer or response for more detail. You can dig deeper. You can constantly dig deeper. However, the free trial that's on our website, tradehog.net, is only going to let you do about 3 per hour. Then you're going to have to wait another hour. If you want to get a subscription to that, we have starting at $9 and something, some odd change. You can get it, and it gives you probably fine for most people. If you want to also get the Office Hog and all the back end stuff as well, then you move up to the basic plans, probably the best plan. It's equivalent to Chat GPT. It's a little cheaper, but it's equivalent to that, but it's smarter because it focuses on our trades and construction, and that's the kind of responses that it gives, and it gives code references. Now, if you want the best out there, the premium, then you also get our mobile app as well. That's just an extra bonus. Plus, you get to ask more questions per hour. So that's how it breaks down. So check out tradehog.net if you're interested in that. Now, as always, I love to live vicariously through you folks. Let me know who you are, where you're from. If you're a Fast Track student, if you have any of our programs, okay? Again, if you just want to give something in the emoji in the chats to let me know you're here, that's fine. If you believe that you come here and all I provide you is nonsense, then put a poop emoji in there. That's fine. I don't care. It doesn't hurt my feelings, but I appreciate you joining me. And so what we're going to do first, before I get into doing some, saying some shout outs to folks, because you know how I love to do the shout outs. I do want to tell you we have a few more things we've added to the wheel. We have added a limited supply of wire waffles. Okay, back to the word of the day, wire waffle. We have added a few of these. Once they're gone, they're gone. We're hoping that I can get more of these to give away so that you all can kind of try them out. They are out of stock on the gentleman's website, wirewaffle.com, but you can get the 6-pack. So I'll reach out to Hunter and see if I can get some more of these to keep them on our wheel. But I do have 5 of these, and I might even give away mine, the 6th one, if you win it. Okay, and that's an instant win. No drawing for these. If you get it, you get it. Until they're gone, they're gone. Also, what we added to the wheel was we're into promotion now, like Adam promotes us on all the social media. We appreciate it, Adam. If you're in here, Adam, I don't know if you're in here. But we are going to be doing a very select few of these NFC cards. Now, if you're not familiar with an NFC card, it allows you to tap somebody's phone and put a website or an action or a link. We're going to be promoting these and coming up with a design to promote Coffee Hour, our morning show, and it will link to Coffee Hour so that you can share it with people. But these are programmable so that if you want to change it on your own and get an NFC changer, which is a free app on your phone, then you can put your own website on it if you want. So that's a great value. I don't remember what we sell these things for, but it's engraved, but it'll be focused on Coffee Hour is for a promotional thing, and you can win these. But you can put your own company on there, own website on there, your own contact information on there if you want. But ours will come programmed with Coffee Hour so that when you share it with somebody, it'll take them to Coffee Hour so that they can share the morning show with other people. So it's a promotional thing, but we have added these. There's a limited supply of these, but we have added these to the wheel, and they'll be custom engraved. Not custom engraved with your name. They're going to be generic for Coffee Hour, but you can program these. They are programmable, that type of thing. And if you want to know how to do that in the software that you need, which is a free download for your phone, whether you have an Apple or an Android, doesn't matter. Very simple. So people that get these NFCs, you can change them all the time, that type of thing. But ours will come pre-programmed for Coffee Hour. And that's to help promote the show. Get people out there at your job site. Say, hey, man, I got a neat show you need to watch. Tap their phone. Put it on their phone. That's what I'm saying. All right, so we have added those. And, of course, through the weeks, we're up until June 30th, which is the second quarter giveaway, we will be adding more things to the wheel, that type of thing. So we want to get that wheel clustered up with a bunch of giveaways that way, okay? So it keeps it, just spreads it out a little bit. All right, and we have added some more Trade Hog drawings for you to get a subscription to Trade Hog, okay? So we have added that as well, okay? All right, let's do some shout outs this morning. Let's see who's all here. Marlon from Tampa, Florida. Marlon, thank you for joining us. Glad to have you here. Tino's in the house. Good morning, Tino. Glad to have you here. Frank the Great. The Great One is in the house. Thanks for joining us, Frank. Love having you here. Paul is in the house. I knew you'd be here. He's in Houston, Texas. Paul, thanks for joining us. And Paul is showing us how to do the hashtag win. So he is in the house with the hashtag win. We have John in the house. John Sterlace is watching over on Fast Track's Tube. Watching over on the Tube. Appreciate it. Even I chatted out and said good morning. And I am on all platforms. So good morning to myself. How about that? All right, let's see here. What do we got here? Hold on here. Let me get rid of man. Boy, I must have chatted a lot. Hold on. Okay. Frank says it's almost Beatbox Friday. There's Adam. I knew Adam would be in the house right there. Good morning, Adam. Welcome. Let's see here. Hashtag wins. We got a lot of hashtag. Cray is in the house. Cray, good morning from Music City. It's almost as Thursday is almost as good as Friday. Well, it gives you something to look at. We know that what's in front of us, Friday. Okay, so that's motivation, right? Good morning, Ryan. Hashtag win is out there. Edgar, good morning. Glad to have you here. Nepo, you've been gone a couple days. Glad to have you back. Let's see. Adrian, good morning. Glad to have you here watching over on YouTube. Charlie's in the house. 2-month-old baby's kicking good. Hopefully everything's good. Charlie, welcome. Time flies. Greg's in the house. Greg Converse on Fast Track's Tube and a long-time Fast Track student. Thank you. Let's see here. Rob's in the house. Rob is also, a lot of people are watching over on the Fast Track's Tube. Also, by the way, I should mention that if you have our free mobile app, you can actually watch the show. I'll show you. If you go to the app, which is basically just a little hog. Wait a minute, that's the hog. Hold on here. I got to find the. There it is. So there's our mobile for the Fast Tracks for the family. There we go. So there. See, that's our mobile app. So this one, if you go over here, you see where it says Coffee Hour. I'll press it. See, I press Coffee Hour right there. See, and that's Coffee Hour. And you see down here, that's me, Coffee Hour. And it's running right now, and I'm showing you how to do it. Okay, look at that. Look at that. There you go. You can do full screen. You can click right here, and it'll do full screen, and you can turn it Full screen. Look at that. Is that not awesome? I'm showing you right here how that's actually cool. Okay. Anyway, and it's neat to watch it. And if you want to chat, for example, let me see where the chat feature. If you want to chat on the mobile, you see this little white box up here. If you click the little white box, you see that it'll bring up the chat. And that allows you to scroll through the chat, and you can turn it to the left, and you can see the chat there. It is small, but anyway, most people just want to watch. So that is cool. Dude, we're always trying to bring new things. I think that nobody out there does it like we do it. I mean, people teach code, people do things, people have courses, but dude, we really, if you think about it, we're here to support you, whether it's our apps, whether it's these shows, whether it's my videos, whether it's our courses, whether it's our Fast Tracks Tube, whether it's our interactive courses over. Dude, we do a lot. I was talking to Jeff about this the other day. I was like, we actually, if you think about it, who else offers the mix of things that we offer that could help you learn? I mean, who else streams on all these platforms? Who else has mobile apps? Who else have courses? I mean, who else has the features in the course for you to ask questions? Who else has paulabernathy.com, where you can ask questions? Dude, if you think about it, who else does that? I mean, you've got other educators, and they may do one platform. But if you think about it, as many haters as I have out there, if I'm not put myself on every platform, every app, every device, every way for you to get information, and I'm giving it all away for free, but I appreciate you that buy my courses because you help support us. But again, I just really never thought about it that way. I really haven't. Now that I'm a bit overwhelmed at all of the ways that we have reached out. I don't know any educator in the world ever that has done it this way and created the hall, which can also help answer questions for people. This sounds cliche, but I really never thought about it. I'm a bit overwhelmed. I'm 50 some years old, and I have built something with Electrical Code Academy that is helping people learn. Wow, it's a little bit more emotional than I thought it would be. I wasn't prepared for that. Sorry. I really don't think about these things when we're creating stuff. I don't, but now I'm kind of thinking about that. It's a little emotional on it. Rob, thanks for joining me. Glad to have you here. John, thanks for joining me, John, down in Florida. Okay, let's see. Felix. Yeah, Felix. Felix is an undercover code nerds. That's right. Well, when you wear a shirt like this on a job site, right? Or you wear a hat that says Master Electrician, probably not so undercover anymore, right? Adam says, damn, the swag is super fly. Wiggy, wiggy, what? Good morning, Christopher. Glad to have you here. Let's see. Good morning. Red Dog is in the house. Red Dog, listen on the back burner here at work. Straight out of Southern California. Fast Track student, still living it. What's up? Over on the West Side. All right. Let's see here. We got Adam. Don't drop your waffle. Yeah, no shit. Today, waffle. We're giving away some waffles. Spinning the wheel. Going to give away some waffles today. Erie, what's up? Fast Track student. Hope everything's going good for you in the program. I love it. People are watching over on Fast Tracks Tube. That is awesome. And there's so many ways to watch it. Dude, like I said, I showed you. That was neat. You got to admit, that was a neat demo showing you it live working from the phone. And that's the easiest way to watch. Wow. We are getting a whole bunch of good stuff here today. Terrence, welcome. My brother from another mother up in D.C., Maryland, and Virginia. Hopefully everything's going good for you up there, my friend. There we go. Fina Tech. Beto's in the house with the hashtag win. Beto, thanks for joining us. Good morning, Danny. Glad to have you here from Spring Hill. Is that Spring Hill or Spring Hill? Okay, let's see. When is the drawing for March? Friday, tomorrow. Tomorrow we're doing the drawing for that. Let's see here. Robert's in the house from San Antonio. Good morning, Crypto. And Paul says it's a beatbox and a rapping Friday. No rapping, but we will unwrap the winners tomorrow. Charlie, thanks for joining us. Nepo, been busy. Glad to join. I'm glad to have you here today. Let's see. What do we got here? Brunot. Did I say that right? Brunot? Did I say it right? Good morning. Glad to have you here. Good morning, Rob. I see you in the house, Paul. Well, thank you very much. I love what I do, and I will keep making products and things for people, whether you buy my courses or not. And I will constantly be trying to educate this industry. Doesn't mean I'm always right. And sometimes I offend people. Sometimes I say, I also forgot that I do podcasts. I forgot that too. I've got thousands of podcasts available, which you can also listen from our free mobile app. As well as go on the favorite podcast platform and type and search for Master the NEC podcast. That type. I've got thousands of those as well. So again, thank you. Good morning, Rob. Glad to have you here. David, thank you, David. I did answer your question on the podcast. That's 2 podcasts just came out yesterday. So make sure y'all check them out. David, I did answer your question on the podcast. Let's see here. Greg's taking the North Carolina contractor exam on May 22nd. Here we go. Focus. We'll keep you in our thoughts, and we will constantly be praying for you. Just so to say, if what you do, prices are bloody. For what you do, prices are bloody. I don't know what that means. Bloody good? Bloody good prices? Class instructors out here charge, okay, almost 3 times that amount. Yeah, and I think that one of the benefits for our programs is you don't just get the program. I think that's what sets us apart. That's why a lot of people buy our Mastering the NEC course, is that you're really not just getting a course. You're getting that interaction, which you can always go into the Fast Tracks Interact and post a question, even if you're not preparing for a license. So it's basically, instead of getting Trade Hog, you're getting me, because I'm the one that's going to answer those questions in the Fast Tracks Interact. So it's basically, people ask, Paul, what is your fees for consultants? I'm a consultant to some large companies, and they pay a fee. Well, if you get Mastering the NEC post-licensing, then you get that a feature built in where you can ask us questions. So I don't know what price it would be for that type of thing. But yeah, I like to think our prices, people contact me and they go, what, $375 for a course? And I'm like, you have really no idea what you're really getting. Okay. So you're not just buying some DVDs and that's it. And then you're on your own, that type of thing. So, what's up, David? Good morning. Feed the hog, wire waffle. Dave is on a roll today, throwing it out. Dave is our CMECP down in Florida. Dave, good morning. It says, I appreciate all the content you do at no cost. I hope the rest of the people understand the worth you're putting. I think they do. Compared to the number of emails and things I get, people do appreciate it. And like I said, I do honestly live vicariously through people's success. I truly want you to succeed. It's not a cliche. I'm not trying to do it. I'm not preaching like I'm holier than thou. I am what you get. And whether I'm goofing around online or whatever, TikTok, whatever, I am what you get. But I love teaching the code and I love helping people learn. Do I think I'm always right? Do I think I'm the best out there? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. How's the lag time on the tube? I watch on Facebook. I don't know. Over on Fast Tracks Tube, there's going to be a little lag, but I am told that that's the case always, that type of thing. So I guess the lag doesn't matter unless we were doing some kind of contest. Otherwise, I don't know that the lag really matters that much for people. That's why we went to the wheel thing, so we don't have to worry about the lag for the contest things. But there's probably going to be a little lag, that type of thing. So Frank says, Paul, why do you help us Sparkies? Because it's the greatest trade in the world. And I believe that it's saved my life. I was not the best teen. I was not the best student in school. I mean, I did great math and other things, but I hated school. I was always in trouble. I was always suspended. I talked back to teachers. I was not a good student in high school. Not like the kids today. I wasn't a violent, but I was not good. I was a smart ass, smart mouth, class clown, messer, this type of thing until I got introduced to electricity in vocational school. And then I immediately changed. And that's when I won the National VICA, which today would be Scholastic, whatever. But I won that. I competed in that. And then I went on to start a company with my brother, and we got very well known. And then I branched out on my own. And I owe everything to the electrical industry. That's why I love teaching. I'm just saying. Beto said, could you explain baseboard heaters and receptacles that are required in dwelling units? Not today, we won't, because we're doing back to basics commercial. But remember, you need to send your requests to paulabernathy.com. We most certainly can talk about those things in future episodes. Remember, baseboard heat treated 100% when it comes to our load calculation. Okay? And receptacles, the spacing of receptacles. Again, you can't have receptacles over top of an electric baseboard heater, not because of what the NEC says, because of what the manufacturers say. Now, could I have a receptacle that's actually built into the baseboard heater? Yeah, they do make those. It's a little compartment, although it can't be supplied by anything that's supplying the baseboard. That's got to have its separate circuit, and that would meet the layout requirement if it's built into it, that type of thing. So again, we can talk about all that kind of stuff, but definitely we can talk about that in other episodes. Frank says, question. I'm not sure what the question is, Frank. Why do I help you, Sparkies? And I gave you the reason. Let's see here. We have results of the first drawing. Again, it's this Friday. Tomorrow is the drawing. Let's see. Charlie said, I would pay double what you charge for coffee hour. What? I charge free, so you'd pay double free? Let's see. Remember, if you're upsetting people, then you're doing your job. Remember, Mr. Ohm. Yeah, people do say that if you're ruffling feathers, then you're doing something right. But I would prefer us all get along and all want to learn together. And I believe you should learn from every educator. I think Ryan Jackson does an amazing job. I think that Mike Holt does an amazing job. I think that so many people that are educators, and I put this as differently. People that teach on social media, no disrespect, I don't consider them educators. They're just sharing content. And it's very easy to turn the camera on and do 3 minutes of education because you rehearse it. I turn the camera on, it just rolls. I don't prepare. I don't prep. So an educator like Mike has put 30, 40 years in. Ryan Jackson's put 20, 30, 40 years in. So educators who do it for a living, that type of thing is different. Do I discount the education on social media? Absolutely not. I think it's great. I think that teaching people, as long as you're teaching them the right thing, I think it's great. I have nothing against it. But I would not put somebody that just goes and does nothing but YouTube videos, I would not call them an educator. They are educating people. But again, it's kind of that old saying, they asked Tiger Woods if he felt he was the GOAT, and he says, no, I'm not done yet. You got to put in your time as an educator. You can't just create content for yourself on your own channel. You have to have written things. You have to have done things. You have to have put yourself out there, and not just a controlled 3 minutes of something. Okay, that's just my opinion. I'm not hating. I love the education, but again, it's so easy to just put something out for 3 minutes snippets and then consider yourself an educator. I'm just saying. I'm not hating. Okay. Yeah. I think that's what it changed its name to. When I used to do it, it was called VICA. It was through the trades, through vocational schools, that type of thing. What do we got here? Let's see. Honestly, Paul, you don't see any other instructors getting up at 5 a.m. Doing podcasts. Yeah, interacting with people he had never met. So thank you. But I do get up at 5 a.m. or every day. I just don't start the show. But yeah, I know that some of you out there on the West Coast, and it says a lot about you folks that get up that early to join the show. That's what I'm talking about. Let's see here. Jonathan's hollering out, telling him good luck with your master's exam. You got this. Absolutely. I love the support. Manny's in the house, and Manny's sporting the Code Nerd Green coffee hour. There you go. Yep, it's free. Let's go. All right. What's up, Andrew from Atlanta? All right. Okay, so let's go on and get into today. Again, keep shouting out in the comments. Love it. Keep it going. Keep giving your comments. Let's go. Let's get into today's lesson and talk a little bit more about the basics for commercial. Okay, let's do some basics. All right, so what other basics do we want to look at today? All right, well, here's some things to remember. Circuit breakers. Again, we're talking mainly going to get into lighting now. And let's say circuit breakers used as switches in a 120 volt and 277 volt fluorescent lighting circuits shall be listed and shall be marked SWD or HID. And that comes from 240.83D. And that is, again, when you're using a circuit breaker as a switch. Now, what's a classic example of doing this? Well, you may have a commercial area that's basically storage. And instead of having switches everywhere for the lighting, it's all controlled by the circuit breakers that are in a panel, right? So they just go and turn the breaker on, turn certain numbers of breakers on, and ones that are identified, and that would turn the fluorescent lighting on, let's say in a storage area or in a warehouse or whatnot. And if that's the case, if the circuit breaker is used as a switch, then it has to be SWD or HID, okay? High intensity discharge or rated for switch, okay? Next is, what about those troffers or the fluorescent luminaires that get dropped into suspended ceiling grids, right? It says, so the wiring located, what about the wiring that supplies those lights that are dropped into the grids, okay? So the wiring located within this cavity of a floor ceiling or roof ceiling assembly shall not be secured to or supported by the ceiling assembly. So basically that means if you have your your troffers or troffers, depending on where you're at in the country, I guess, inside of the suspended ceiling, that the actual wiring to them, that whether it's MC or whatever, or even raceways, they're not going to be supported by what's supporting the ceiling grid. Okay, so that type of thing. So they have to have their own ceiling support wires. Okay, and it says an independent means of securing support shall be provided and shall be permitted to be attached to the assembly. So you're allowed to run your guide wire, your support wires for the assembly, but you run separate wires to support your wiring method, like your MC, that type of thing, or your raceways, okay? Separate. Now, it says where independent support wires are used, they shall be distinguishable by color, tagging, or other effective means. Okay, so with that said, let's go over to the NEC real quick and look at what the code says. And let's see here. It's obviously not viewing, so we'll fix that as we always do. And we'll come over here and we'll look at 300. So again, y'all are familiar with this. This is the supports that are going to support any luminaires or any wiring method that is within your suspended ceiling grid. Now, they have the ability, depending on the ceiling grid, to support your luminaires, but you're going to have little clips that hold it down. And for you folks out in California, y'all know all about that when it comes to some of the rules that y'all may have when it comes to things like earthquake and all that kind of stuff. So here's what we're talking about, 300 right here. And this is the wiring system installed above a suspended ceiling, right? And there's B1. The B1 is for fire-rated assemblies. And then B2 is for non-fire rated assemblies. So not all of your drop ceilings are rated as a fire rated assembly, but they could be. And usually they're going to be more weight, and they're usually going to have a rating on that. Okay. Now, the only difference in these two right here is, you'll see here, it says wiring located within the cavity of a fire-rated floor ceiling or roof ceiling assembly shall not be secured to or supported by the ceiling assembly, including the ceiling support wires. That's what we just read, okay? This is verbatim what we just read. Now, there is an exception. The exception said, however, the ceiling support system shall be permitted to support wiring and equipment that have been tested as part of the fire-rated assembly. What the frick does that mean? Well, there is a rarity where you have a ceiling that is fire rated, that has been approved to be able to handle the additional weight and the ability to be able to handle the wiring method to be secured to the supporting component of that drop ceiling. Okay. that's not a given. You're going to have to find out from somebody. So if you get an inspector that comes in there and you see it sees the MC being secured or EMT being secured and boxes being secured to the support wires for the ceiling grid, they might reject you. And if you happen to know that that grid has been evaluated to support that additional weight, then you can say, boom, Mr. Inspector, this is designed to support this. Okay. I remember a couple years ago, Texas had a rule in their amendment to the Northern Texas Amendment that allowed them to secure up to 2 MC cables on every support wire. And I came from NEMA. So I came there and that's where we got that removed. I was like, there is absolutely nothing that would support that, pun intended. That extra weight will add up onto that grid if you start allowing that. And so they ended up removing that from an amendment that they had. Because again, there's nothing, the only way that you could do that is if you could show that that grid was evaluated in the number of support wires that are being installed. All of that is evaluated to support that extra weight, that type of thing. So unless you can. Now, they do make assemblies out there that are designed for that. And usually it's going to be the ones that are rated for fire rated assembly and they can handle the extra weight, that type of thing, okay? Not the norm. Yeah, with that said, and again, I don't know if we got a picture down here. No, I don't see no picture. That type of thing. It is some extra good information, by the way, down here that you can go look at. Again, if you want to look at the proper way to support a luminaire that's in that grid, then you're going to go to 410, all right? But this is some good extra information. This is linked, by the way, for those that aren't familiar with it. And then here's the non-fire rated assembly, which is probably what you're going to have 9 times out of 10. It is same scenario, wiring. It's not talking about the luminaire here, so 300 is talking about the wiring. Is wiring located within the cavity of a non-fire rated floor to ceiling or roof to ceiling assembly, a suspended ceiling, by the way, shall not be supported to or suspended by the ceiling assembly, okay, including the ceiling support wires. It says you're going to install independent means of securing support shall be provided and shall be permitted to be attached to the assembly. So you're still allowed to go from the ceiling to the grid with these separate independent supports to support your wiring method, support your boxes, things like that, right? Now it says where the independent support wires are used, they shall be distinguished by color, tag, or other effective means. A lot of people take these, the electrician will take all of their extra support wires that they're going to use for their stuff, not the ceiling grid, but theirs. They get a bunch of them, or they'll ask the ceiling folks to leave them a box of them. And I know a lot of electricians that will go out and then take spray paint and just lay them all out on the floor and just spray paint them. Put separate color on them, whether it's orange or red or blue or whatever they want to do. And they'll just pre-spray paint them all, kick them over with their feet, spray them, kick them a little bit to turn them, spray them. And then they'll put them back in the box after they dry. And they just tell their people, use these anytime you're adding us something for our electrical, whether it's the MC or EMT support or a bat wing to use to support a box or something like that. That's what typically people do. But you could tag it. I know electricians who actually have their own little tags made up. They look like little flags, and they have their website and their company name on them, and they put these on them. And you say, why would they do that? Because it's free promotion. Down the road, if anybody goes in that ceiling, they can see it and know who did it, and they might call them and get a service call or a callback. I'm just saying. Promotion. Now, I had one guy one time say, well, that's just easier for the lawyers to find you. I'm like, dude, if you know what you're doing is right and you're following all the rules, then what do you care? You let the lawyer call me. Maybe they want to use you as an expert witness on something. I'm just saying. Now, I have an exception here that says the ceiling support system shall be permitted to support branch circuit wiring and associated equipment where installed in accordance with the ceiling system manufacturer's instructions. So, if the manufacturers say that it's okay to support branch circuit wiring on those independent supports, or not the independent, excuse me, those supports for the grid, and you have that in the instructions, so be it. You're able to follow the instructions. So that's important to have that exception there, okay? To have that there, right? That's why it's there. Makes sense. Makes sense to me. All right, next, wall switch control lighting outlets are not required in commercial occupancies other than hotels and motels, okay, except for attics and underfloor spaces, utility rooms, and basements where these spaces are used for storage or containing equipment requires servicing. Okay, so we're going to go look at the code. It's 210. Why is this not working? We're going to go to 210.70. Remember what I always say, folks, about hashtags. Code references. I should say there are call outs in our program. You should always stop and go look at them. Okay. And we're going to try to follow that same theory. We're going to stop and go look at things, right? So we're going to be looking at C and right here. So this is our lighting outlet requirements. For those that are new to the code, this is where you go to 10.70 is for your lighting outlet requirements, right? And we go down to C. C is all occupancies, okay? So we have requirements for other occupancies, right? Guest room, guest suites, additional lighting, yada, yada. We have dwelling unit requirements in A, right? Then we have guest rooms and guest suite requirements in B. And then, of course, in C, we have all occupancies requirements, okay? So this is where we've got C. It says, now this is for all, okay? This is not just dwellings. This is all. So whether it's commercial, and that's what we're talking this week, it's attics and underfloor spaces, utility rooms, and basements. It says at least one lighting outlet containing a switch or controlled by a switch. That means you could have a pull chain on the actual lighting outlet, okay? You could have that. Or a listed wall-mounted control device shall be installed where these spaces are used for storage or contain equipment requiring servicing. Okay, so we need to make sure we have the lighting outlet to be able to illuminate the area where we're going to be servicing the equipment. It says a point of control, okay, shall be at each entry that permits access to the attic and underfloor space, utility room, and basement. So if you're going in, you have to have the lighting outlet, right? At least one lighting outlet controlled by a switch. Where you're going to put it is obviously you need to illuminate, okay, the equipment. Okay, so that's the last line, by the way. But when it comes to control, you want to make sure that you have a control at the point of the access or the area where this equipment may be, okay? And it says where a lighting outlet is installed for equipment requiring servicing, like maybe HVAC units, air handlers, something like that. It says the lighting outlet shall be installed at or near the equipment, okay? At or near the equipment, okay? Obviously, we need to illuminate what we're working on. Now, this is where I tell electricians, this is where we have to use common sense. Obviously, look, common sense. This is not code. This is common sense. Electricians we're notorious for being people that try to bring common sense. Okay, we try. Social media doesn't always do that, but we try. And everybody argues that the NEC is not riddled with common sense, but it is really. If you think about it, if I'm going to put this lighting outlet near the equipment that's servicing, I obviously have to have a light to get in, turn the switch on, control the light, right? Having an equipment, it makes sense to me if I'm servicing the equipment as an electrician, I'm going to position my lighting so that if I'm working on the equipment, the light is close to the equipment so it's not behind me. I know that's not always in a perfect world, but that may mean that I have to put more than one lighting outlet. So don't be stingy, especially if we're working on equipment. We don't want people to have to work on something in the dark. Now, if you're digging over in the equipment, obviously the lights can't be in the equipment, right? Common sense, right? But I think positioning your illumination and where your lighting outlet is something that electricians are used to looking at and saying, okay, let's use some common sense. Here's the equipment. Where do I put this lighting outlet? Well, I'm going to try to put it in a way that maybe it's the center where the two pieces of equipment here, but it's near it, but I'm not going to put it behind me. Things like that. Again, in a perfect world, everything works out. It's not always a perfect world. I get it. But again, we use common sense. So that just doesn't mean that you blindly as an electrician just put things anywhere to satisfy the code. You actually look at it and go, what makes sense here? That type of thing. Now, if an engineer already specs out where something goes in commercial, then you're like, well, you know what? You can do it. But if they did something that you don't think is right and you're there, I often tell electricians, don't be afraid to push back and contact the general contractor or ask them to ask the engineers, like, shouldn't we maybe move this luminaire a little closer, or maybe move it over here where the equipment is? It makes sense because they're looking at a piece of paper. You're looking at it and you feel the situation. Then maybe that's where you can be involved, that type of thing, and you can interact with them. And that's important. I think it's something that we should always want to try to interact and not just blindly start doing things that somebody may just tell us to do. So this is a typical layout. Obviously, you see this. Y'all are all used to seeing this lighting layout. Again, these are drop-ins right here. This looks like 2x2s. This looks like 2x4 drop-ins. Here it looks like we have some track lighting. All these things. You see they all have their own legend on them, right? These are A's right here. We look like these right here are A's. These are F's, type F. Here's a night light right here. Here's these look like these are some tracks. These are type G's. Where do you get all this information? Obviously, in commercial, this should be on what we call a lighting legend, right? So a lighting legend may look like this. This is your schedule, and it shows the different types of luminaires. It might say what the manufacturer is. It'll give you the voltage. It'll give you the catalog number. Again, it'll give you a little bit of description. Again, not all of them are as nice as this, and I'll zoom this in so you can see it. Not all of them will be this detailed. I get it. Sometimes we work with some crappy drawings, but this is typically what you'll see, and it'll tell you how many lamps per luminaire, the wattage, and all this kind of other stuff, okay? Typically, that's what you get. Not always, but you should have some lighting schedule, the luminaire schedule on your drawings. Now, if you're taking an exam, you're doing like an exam where you're going to be doing like the E3 for the ICC to get your plans examiner, things like that, then get familiar with being able to read blueprints, because a lot of times some questions will pop up on those exams to try to see if you know how to read a drawing, that type of thing. Now, here's some other important things to remember. When you see this schedule, let's read this right here. It says, for lighting units that have ballasts, transformers, or auto transformers, or LED drivers, which is very common today, it says the supply circuit's calculated load is based on the total ampere rating of such units, not the lamp's total wattage. That is so important, guys. So if you're dealing with a lighting unit in commercial that has ballasts involved with it, that has transformers involved with it, that has auto transformers, that's a rarer one, but if they did have auto transformers, or more commonly today, LED drivers, you're not doing your load calcs, and hopefully the engineer does this for you, and hopefully engineers out there that are listening, you're not doing this on the wattage. You're basically doing this from what's listed on the ballast. And if you have more than one ballast associated with the luminaire, and again, you could have two, then what you're doing is you're basically taking the ratings of both ballasts, okay, and adding them together. And then you're taking that rating, that total amp rating, okay, and you're going to multiply it by the voltage of that luminaire, and that's going to give you your VA value that you're going to use in your overall calculation, not the wattage. Now you're saying, where the hell does it say that in the code? Okay, because people get confused with that. Okay, just so we know. In the code, it says that at 220.11. All right, so let's go down. And by the way, for the 2026 edition, that's going to be possibly 120.11b. I don't know. I haven't looked to see if that's actually changed yet. All right, so 220 right here. So let's see, right here. So those are all LED or inductive type of lighting loads. It says, for circuits supplying lighting loads that have ballasts, very common, electronic ballasts, transformers, auto transformers, or again, more common today, LED drivers, it says the calculated load, which is what you're going to be using. Okay, you have your connected load, which is the info you're getting, and you have a calculated load, which means you're going to be doing a calculation. It says the calculated load shall be based on the total ampere rating of such units and not the total wattage of the lamps. Okay? It's the actual information that comes off of the LED driver, what comes off of the ballast, and things like that, right? If you have two ballasts associated with the luminaire, then you're taking the value from both ballasts and adding them together, and then you're multiplying that by what? You're multiplying that by the voltage rating in order to come up with a VA. Make sense? All right, so again, hopefully, the engineers know this. I'm sure they do, but that's how you do it. And so you're not basing it for commercial. You're not basing it just on the lampage, right? You're basing it on what is published or what is printed on the unit. And this has to do with the inductive and LED lighting loads, okay? Fluorescent. Okay, so here's got some good pictures. So these are what a drop-ins look like. Y'all are all familiar with those. And these are surface mount right here. Okay? And this is type G in that drawing we had. These are mounted on a surface, probably in some kind of show area, right? Or whatever. So those are type G. And then you have these drop-ins, which are D. Okay? So suspended ceiling system framing members used to support luminaires must be securely fastened to each other and to the building structure. So each one of these tracks have to be bolted. Usually it's like a, rivet. And then it's also around the perimeter, it's riveted securely. Those are designed typically to hold the framing members, okay? All right, so that's designed that way. And it's designed for you to be able to drop these fluorescent luminaires in the track itself, right? And it says luminaires must be fastened securely to the ceiling framing member by mechanical means, such as bolts, screws, or rivets. However, a lot of the actual, unless they're independently supported. Okay, this is a big one that people get wrong in the code. Let me bring it back. If I'm going to use the ceiling grid, and this is something that people don't understand, let me explain it to you. If I'm going to support my luminaire from the grid, then that luminaire needs to be connected to the grid. Now, some of the luminaires have little clips that are built on them that swing out. And those are part of the listing of the luminaire. When you swing them out, they will hook it to the grid and you're done. That is only if that grid is designed to support your luminaires. Not all grids are. The ones that are fastened and clipped and riveted in place, those are designed to support the weight. So you always want to check with the general contractor, check with whoever's doing the grid. It may be one little step you have to do. Hopefully the design engineer who puts that on the plans has already known this or looked at the grid that's being used to be designed to support the luminaires. If that is the case and the grid is going to support your lay-in luminaires, then you have to make sure that your luminaire is connected, whether it's by bolt, screw, or rivet, or if the luminaire has a listed clip that is built into it or provided by the luminaire manufacturer. If that is the case, then that will secure it down there. Now, the other thing that people lose sight of is that I can choose to not support my luminaire by the grid. So I could support my luminaire with independent tie wires independently. And if my luminaires are supporting independently and not by the grid itself, then they don't need to be connected to the grid because they're supported independently. Y'all get what I'm saying? What is the concept of this? Well, if you support it to the grid, then there's a chance that if something happens and moves that they're not going to fall out, that they're going to stay rigid with the supported grid. And it's designed to support, they're going to act as one. So if somebody's pulling it down during, let's say, a firefighting activity, they're not going to get surprised by anything. They don't have to worry about a luminaire slipping out of the grid and falling on top of somebody's head. It's all going to come down. That's the whole purpose. Yank it down. If you choose to independently support all your luminaires, then when they pull the grid down, they don't have to worry about the luminaires falling onto somebody's head. They're independently supported. The engineer may design it either way, okay? Just want to remember that if you're laying your luminaires over in a grid, look around and see if this grid is riveted together. Look around the perimeter and see if the perimeters ties, the T-ties, are actually riveted to make it a rigid system, okay? That's the thing. If it is, then guess what? Then you can lay your luminaires in those 2x2s or 2x4s, throw the little clips on there, or people are getting the little metal screws with the hex heads and just zip, 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 and just secure it in. Other than that, I gave you both ways to do that. And that's golden because that's been causing people a lot of controversy for many years. Where is that in the code? 410.36b. Let's go look at the NEC real quick, just so we can look at that. I love looking at the code. I'm a code guy. I'm a code nerd. I always love to quantify things in the code. So let's go look at the code and see what it's talking about right here. All right, this is what we're talking about right here, and we're looking at B right here, suspended ceilings. All right, listen here. It says, framing members of suspended ceilings used to support luminaires shall be securely fastened to each other. First requirement. And, notice the and, it's not an or, it's an and shall be securely fastened to the building structure at appropriate intervals. What's appropriate intervals? Well, you're going to have to talk to the people that design the framing of the ceiling grid, okay? Or ask the general contractor to do his due diligence and get that answer for you. He should know who the framing people are, or maybe even the engineer knows. Okay, so as soon as that's taken place, then you're allowed to do that. Now it says luminaires shall be securely fastened to the ceiling grid member by mechanical means, such as bolts, screws, or rivets, okay? Listed clips identified for use with the type of ceiling framing members, and they're all pretty generic, by the way, and the luminaires shall be permitted, okay? And then, of course, you have some additional information down here, right? And it lets you screw, bolt, or rivet, that type of thing, okay? All right? All right, there you go. All right, back to me. But what's important for me is that this rule is only when you are using the grid to support your luminaires. This is the subtle things that people don't realize. If I'm not supporting my luminaires by the grid, it means they have independent supports to the ceiling structure, like the girders at the top or whatnot. If I choose to go that route, then they're independently supported from the grid, then the grid is not supporting them. And it's really what you have to do if the ceiling grid is not designed to support luminaires, okay? Then that's the other option, but you always have that option as an electrician. Yes, it's a lot more wires. Yes, okay, that type of thing. But it is what it is. And oh, by the way, if you support your luminaires independently like that, then nothing says that I could not support an MC cable that's going to that luminaire from that individual support for that luminaire, okay? Little tip there if you're doing your design, okay? Not supporting it by the wire that's supporting the grid, but your luminaire. Okay, enough of that. All right, how about show windows and track lighting? Okay, because very common in commercial. You saw this on our grid. So there was our track lighting, right? And there was our type E, which was these little snap-in track lights, okay? So track lighting shall be permanently installed as well as permanent connected to the branch circuit. Usually it connects to one end of a track, okay? Install only track lighting fittings on the track lighting. Well, that should be a no-brainer because I don't know what else the hell would fit on the track light. But again, okay, good to know. It says fittings equipped with general purpose receptacles shall not be used on track lighting, okay? So fittings or whatever that's for general purpose receptacle, we're not going to be plugging them into a receptacle that's designed for general purpose applications. Now, 410.150. Let's go look at it real quick. Hey, it worked that time. So let's just go down to 410.150 and see what that says. And it's probably not something you're going to do anyway, but track lighting. And let's see right here, track lighting. It says track lighting shall be permanently installed, okay, and permanently connected to the branch circuit. Makes sense. So basically it's permanent. You're not going to hook it onto any receptacles. It tells you that it has to be permanent. So it says the lighting track fittings shall not be equipped with general purpose receptacles. And I don't see a picture for this. So again, not going to have any receptacles on that. And I guess unless the manufacturer made them that way, which again, they can't because the code says they can't, then I think that's probably a moot point anyway. But I think the real issue here is they don't want to take the track lighting and allow people to be able to plug anything like plugging cord into it. Since it is a branch circuit, they don't want you to be able to plug anything in it. It's for track lighting only. Makes sense. But again, I guess you got to say it sometimes for people to get it, that type of thing. All right. So I guess somebody out there made a fitting that slides on a track lighting that has a receptacle built into it. Then I guess they're making it. It's probably have it evaluated by somebody, maybe a third party, but you can't slide that sucker and use it on track lighting. That's what it's saying. Okay. All right. It says track lighting shall be securely mounted so that each fastening suitably supports the minimum weight of the luminaire that can be installed. Unless identified for greater support intervals, a single section, say a 4 foot or less in length, shall have 2 supports. Okay, so 4 foot or less, 2 supports. Again, probably going to already be done by the manufacturer, whether it's some type of supporting system or toggle bolt system or whatever the system. Okay, so again, unless identified differently by the manufacturer, then it's basically going to have 2 supports. 4 foot or less going to have 2 supports. If installed in a continuous row, each individual section of not more than 4 feet in length shall have 1 additional support. Okay, so 2 for the 1 support. Okay, and then each additional. Okay, so in a row, so individually, so each additional should have the support. So that is 410.154. So let's go look at that. Again, not showing up. So that is 154. So let's see what the code says right here. Right here, fastening. So what does it say? Again, lighting tracks shall be securely mounted so that each fastened is suitable for supporting the maximum weight of the luminaire that can be installed. Okay, so probably manufacturer is going to give you the information on how to support it, or you're going to be looking for support things like toggle bolts and things that has a ability to support it. Use the manufacturer's instructions or probably what came with it. And it says, unless identified for supporting at greater intervals, a single section of 4 feet or shorter in length shall have 2 supports. And it says, and were installed in a continuous row, means you're putting more and more together, like in a long row. It says each individual section of not more than 4 feet in length shall have 1 additional support. Okay. So for the first 4 feet, you have 2. And then for each additional 4 feet, you're adding an additional one for each additional 4 feet. Okay. So that's sometimes on a code exam, right? You have 2 and it may be a 8-foot piece and they want to know how many supports is it? Well, if it's continuous and they're not separate, then if it's 4 feet, then you have another 4 feet, then basically it is what? It is 2 for the first 4 feet. And then it'd be another one for each additional 4 feet. So it's total of 3 supports. Okay. That's how that actually reads. Okay. All right. Let's go. Now, if they were separate 4 foot or less, then it would be 2 per. Okay. Makes sense? Kind of sounds weird, but it's the way it's written. It's the way the code says it. All right, recessed luminaires. Okay, this looks like an old incandescent type, right? But we know that most of them today are probably going to be LED driven. But anyway, it says a recessed remote ballast for an HID. Okay, so this one here, all right, shall have integral thermal protection and be identified as such. Okay, so this is pretty much manufacturer driven. So again, that's 410.130F4. It basically says this verbatim. So if it is a recessed style, and this may be what these are right here, this is item C from the luminaire legend. Okay, it's a recess, and if it's a remote ballast, means here's the luminaire and the ballast is over here. Okay, so here's the actual luminaire, and this is remote from it. Okay, over here. Then it's basically saying that it has to have an integral thermal protection. So it's usually this little black thing that sticks out the side of it, a little thermal protector that's built into it. Okay. You're going to know this if you buy the luminaire, okay? Now, thermal insulation shall not be installed above a recessed luminaire or within 3 inches of a recessed luminaire enclosure, wiring compartment, ballast, transformer, LED driver, or power supply unless the luminaire is identified as type IC for insulation contact, okay? So I used to tell people IC means in contact. but basically insulation contact. So see this IC marking, then the insulation can go right up to it. If it does not have that marking on that recessed luminaire, then I need to maintain that 3 inches around. Okay, so they do make these nifty little covers that go over them that push the separation so that if you're blowing in insulation or something, then you keep that separation. Also, they go over it and they have a certain gapping around it so that they maintain that 3 inches. But you also have the luminaires that, again, are in contact with thermal insulation. You throw it right on it. I'm gonna tell you something right now with that. I never really trusted that. It's just me. Okay, this is just Paul again. I always would put something where I would keep the insulation from getting over the luminaire, even if it was in contact. And I used to get a lot of engineers that would yell at me because they would say, dude, the reason we're speccing out the ones that are in contact is because we don't want to lose our thermal envelope rating because of the luminaire, the leakage of heat around it. We want it to be insulation on everything. Okay, if that's what you want, at least they said that. And I got it on record. But again, supposedly with the ICs, insulation right up to it and do whatever you want, that type of thing. Now, I did have a select number of engineers who would spec out those little covers that go over them, even when they were IC rated, in order to be able to go over them. But again, if they're IC rated, then they're rated to be in contact with thermal insulation. So just keep that in mind. And not all of your recessed luminaires are rated that way. So look at you. If you're going to put it in. Now, if you're putting them, say, in between floors, it's not going to get insulation, then it doesn't really matter, does it? But if it's going to get insulation, then that's something that you have to be aware of, right? How about exit luminaires and egress luminaires? A fluorescent luminaire ballast used for egress lighting, energized only during a failure of a normal supply, shall not have thermal protection. Okay, so if you're speccing these out and you have this luminaire that's specified by the engineer and it's part of your lighting that's going to do the egress path to get out of the building, okay, then 410.130E4 is going to say, you know what, that ballast that is used specifically for egress lighting, okay, when energized only during a failure, cannot have thermal protection because we want to burn it up. We want it to stay running. We don't want the thermal protector to trip out. Also, one of the things to remember during trying to exit, you might have flame and heat elevation, and it could cause the premature shutdown due to the thermal protector. We don't want that. We want to make sure that that path of illumination for egress stays lit as long as possible, just like a fire pump. A fire pump does not have overload protection. It might have short circuit ground fault protection. It does not have overload protection. We want that motor on the fire pump to burn up. We want it to stay running, okay? Article 695, go read it. I actually have a podcast on 4 episodes that talks about fire pumps. Interesting listen, okay? So you can get that over on our, I think it's still available over on our YouTube channel, okay? All right. An exit direction sign located within the building does not require a disconnecting means. That is the exception. Again, we do not have a disconnecting means requirement. Obviously, it's going to be on a breaker somewhere. But at the end of the day, that's the exits. You know what's interesting? Some states want their exits down low and up high. I noticed that when I traveled around the country, and the thought of that, it's not required in every state, but the thought of that was because the smoke rises, that if you're crawling on the floor to get out, you can't see the exit up high, so they're putting the exits down lower so that you can actually see them, and maybe when you're down low and you're trying to get out of the building, that type of thing. So again, some places I go, I don't see that. I can't remember. I want to think it's Ohio is real prominent for having these low exits, that type of thing, but I don't see it everywhere, okay? Article 700. Get familiar with 700 if you're doing commercial. We're going to do an episode here in the next couple of weeks talking about Article 700 so we can deep dive into the emergency requirements in Article 700. But it says Article 700 provisions apply to the electrical safety of emergency system installation, operation, and maintenance. These systems consist of circuits and equipment intended to supply, distribute, and control electricity for facility illumination, power, or both, whenever the normal power to the system shuts off under emergency condition, and now you'll have path of egress lighting where required, your exit signs, which may have a battery internal to themselves or supplied by a generator or another source of power, will come on. Usually when it comes to Article 700, it's got to come on within how many seconds? See if anybody knows how many seconds are we required to transfer to emergency power, okay? See if anybody knows. In fact, there's a time requirement for emergency. There's a time requirement for legally required standby power, maybe required by the jurisdiction, right? And then there's also, is there a time frame when it comes to optional standby? See if you know all three of those, okay? If you know there's a time frame for each one of those, let's see. See who knows all that, all right? Okay, all right. Let's see here, let's see. Yeah, we'll do this last one and we'll do some giveaways. There you go, Charlie. Charlie says 10 seconds. Whoop, whoop. It is exactly right. It is 10 seconds for emergency, 60 seconds for legally required, and there is no time limit for optional, okay? So many people think that an optional standby system, which is what you'd get like with a Generac or whatever for your house, there is no time frame. Those are not emergency systems. Now, you may feel like it's an emergency, but it is not emergency. Now, are they going to probably transfer quicker than yes, probably are, but they're not emergency. Legally required is not an emergency. Although legally required transfer equipment is probably going to be rated for emergency because I don't believe they make transfer equipment that's rated for legally required. So that's why you would use an emergency rated transfer switch in those applications where legally required. Hey, if all of that emergency stuff, 700, 701, 702 is confusing, welcome to Coffee Hour because we're going to talk about all those things. Where else do you get that, folks? We're going to be talking about all those type of things on Coffee Hour. We're in it for the long haul, guys. We do this every week. So we're going to talk about through the year. That's why you got to keep coming back. You just never know where I'm going to go. That's the beautiful thing about Coffee Hour, okay? It's not just about exam prep. It's about learning the code and talking about different topics, that type of scenario. I'm just saying. All right, adjustable luminaires. Okay, here it says 2 conduits can support an enclosure containing a device under the conditions found in 314.23F. So no, you can't support, if there's a device in here, okay? So you can't support it with 1 conduit, okay? It has to be at least 2, right? Now, it says 1, the box shall not exceed 100 cubic inches. 2, the box has either threaded entries or identified hubs. And 3, the box must be supported by 2 or more conduit threaded wrench tight into the enclosure or hubs. And 4, each conduit must be secured within 18 inches of the enclosure. Okay, so that is 314.23F. That is if you're going to have a device inside of the box and the box is being supported by those conduits. We're not talking about if the box is supported by, let's say, a block of wood or a steel that's coming up, a plate, and you screw the box to it. We're talking about, oops, we come out of the ground and we have a box and we want to support this box in the air, okay? Then it needs to be supported. If it's going to contain devices in it, then it's going to be what? It's going to have at least 2 conduits to support it, okay? All right? And it's got to be threaded entries. PVC Schedule 80 is not a threaded entry, okay, by the way. So that means we're going to go look at 314.23. You know we're going to do it. So let's go to the code, and it's not letting me, and it is now. So let's go to 314.23, another one that people really get confused on, supporting those boxes out, whether you're doing it commercial. A lot of times we do it for lighting to upsplash the building. You see this out in streets all the time for public spaces where they will put the actual receptacles and devices and things like that into boxes. So let's go to 314 and let's look at 23. Let's get rid of these myths right now. All right, so we're going to look at F. So let's go. So here we are. 314.23 supports. And of course, we're in 314. So we're talking about supporting of what? Boxes and enclosures and things like that, right? Okay, so enclosures The scope of this article shall be supported in accordance with 314.23a through F as applicable. All right. So we're going to be looking at F because F is raceway supported enclosures with devices, luminaires, and lamp holders. All right. All right. Here's what it says. It says an enclosure that contains a device. And again, everybody, a receptacle is a device. Hello. Other than splicing devices, okay, when we say splicing devices, other than like a Polaris splice, that's a splicing device, by the way, or supports luminaires. Okay, so enclosures other than devices that contain a device other than splicing devices, or if it supports a luminaire, a lamp holder, or other equipment, and is supported by entering raceways, shall not exceed 100 cubic inches. Now, this is probably not going to happen in a normal little box, right? A normal little FS box or whatnot. Now, it says, it shall have threaded entries or identified hubs. It shall be supported by 2 or more conduits, right? Conduits threaded wrench tight into the enclosure or the hub. It says each conduit shall be secured within 18 inches of the enclosure. All right, so that's your general rule, right? Exception number 1, rigid metal or intermediate metal conduit shall be permitted to support a conduit body of any size, including a conduit body constructed with only one conduit entry, provided the trade size of the conduit body is not larger than the largest trade size for the conduit. All right, let me explain this one for people because people are going, what the frick are you talking about? So this exception is when we see a LB that's floating in the air and it has a raceway coming into it, a conduit, like a rigid or intermediate. That's saying, hey, that can be supported and it may have a device in it of some type, okay? Or it may have something that's supporting a luminaire or something. So the concept here is, you know what? As long as you have that conduit body, whatever it may be, a conduit C, LB, LR, LL, whatever it be, if that LB takes a trade size 1, and I'm supplying it with a rigid or intermediate that's a trade size 1, then it's okay. That's the exception. It doesn't need to have 2 conduits to support it. That's what it's talking about. You get me? You get what I'm saying? Okay. And then you have another one for luminaires below that, but we're going to cover the exception number 2 in a different episode where I talk about luminaires. Okay, so that's the main thing that we're talking about. Okay, so this is so let's just kind of basically get down. So we're talking about this right here. So here's the device, and this is the rule. Okay, now it says luminaires that require adjusting or aiming after installation do not require an attachment plug or cord connection, provided the exposed cord is suitable for a hard or extra hard usage and is not longer than the required for maximum adjustment. The cord shall not be subject to strain and physical damage. All right, so here, this is kind of a luminaire that allows you to the adjustment, okay? That type, that type of scenario, okay? All right, so we're gonna get off of that. So let's talk about, let's go to some giveaways now, folks, because I am over the hour. We're going to do some giveaways, and we've added some wire waffles, okay? I have added the NFCs that promote coffee hour that you can tap to your friends and it'll take them right to coffee hour, but they are programmable. You can reprogram the little chip in here if you want to put your website on it or whatever, but it will be promoting coffee hour on the front. We did add the voltage drop cards, a few more options on there for those. And of course, again, like I said, we added the wire waffle until they are gone. Okay, so make sure you do the hashtag win. And we're going to be drawing the first quarter's giveaway is going to be tomorrow's show. Okay, so just to let you know. All right, so here's your last chance to get that hashtag win in there because here we go. We're going to spin. Let's go. Let's go. And by the way, So Robert, Robert, you are in the drawing for the NFC card promoting coffee hour. Okay, so again, you can reprogram it if you want, but you're in the drawing for that. Okay, congratulations for that. That's a neat one because again, this allows you to tap it, but you can put your company's website on it, your contact information, whatever you want on it, but it will say coffee hour on it, so it's a promotional thing. Okay, all right, let's spin again. Let's go. Charlie wants a waffle. That was a delayed spin. Terrence. All right, Terrence. You are in the drawing for the conductor length card. And if you've already got that, you're in for it. Your name gets added again. All right. Congratulations on that being in on that drawing. Let's go again. Congratulations. You're in that drawing, Terrence. Ryan's Goats. All right, Ryan, you get a subscription to Fast Tracks Tube, which I personally think is the best subscription on the wheel, by the way. And all you got to do is go to fasttrackstube.com, go to the top where it says member plans, click on it, sign up for a free account, pick your username, pick your passwords, and email us and let us know. Use any of our websites to email us or info@fasttrackstube.com if you want. Email us your username and password. Well, no, don't send me your password. Just your username. We already know your password. Just your username and send us that info and we will elevate you to an annual membership. If you already have that, let us know. If you're already a member, we appreciate you. Or if you've won it before, we'll extend it out to another year, that type of thing. But congratulations on winning that. That's an instant, immediate. You get that right now. Just go to fasttrackstube.com. All right, let's go. Wire or waffle? Charlie wants the waffle. Let's go. Charlie says, no whammies. No whammy. I should do that. I should add a whammy to the wheel. All right. Edward Ellis. You also follow the same instructions. You get a free year's access to Fast Tracks Tube. That type of thing, okay? You keep showing this. Marlon, this is wire waffle. This solves the issue of violating 312.5c, where people bring all the NM cables through one TA, which is a violation. The code says you have to secure each cable at the box or enclosure. This solves that problem because it allows you to take up to 16 14-2s or 12-2s into a box through one 2.5-inch opening. Or you could bring in a 6.3 or 6.2 or 8.3 or 8.2. You probably bring multiples in with this. So it solves that violation that people keep doing, especially out in Arizona. So the guy that came up with his name is Hunter, and this is his patent, and that is called a wire waffle. Go to wirewaffle.com. We introduced this, first person to introduce it online. We introduced it, first ever introduce it. Over on, I don't know, the show was a week ago or so, or whatever it was. It's called Wire Waffle. Go to wirewaffle.com and find out about it. It's awesome. I like it. I wholeheartedly endorse it. All right, simple approach. Okay. All right, Edward, you got that Fast Tracks Tube. All right, let's go. Marlon, if you hadn't heard what this was by now, you must not be a follower every day, my friend. You got to come every day. I know it's hard to come every day, but let's go. Let's get away. I'm telling you, Wire Waffle is on there. It's on the wheel. I'm telling you. It's on the wheel. I ain't gonna lie to you. Ryan's boat, you just won a Fast Tracks Tube, so let's spin the wheel again for you. This is for Ryan's boat. You get a spin again. but you got picked twice, and I know Charlie's going to say it's rigged. All right, Ryan, you get in the drawing for 12 months of access to Trade Hog. You're in that drawing. That is an awesome subscription as well. Many people email me. Trade Hog has totally saved them on a job site. So that is awesome already. And it's in its infancy. It's only about a month old. So again, thank you for everybody who's checked out tradehog.net. Tradehog.net. Check it out. Try it for free. Ask it a question. Not just one of the ones that are already there. Ask it your own question. Just be very detailed and so much slang. Ask it accurate questions and you'll get accurate answers. Trade Hog. Whoop, whoop. All right, let's do it again here. Let's go. You are most welcome, Marla. All right, let's see what's coming up. Man, this thing must, people are going to say it's getting rigged here, Terrence, because you're right up the road from me. They're going to say, oh, you're just playing favorites to your locals. I'm just saying, whoa, check it out. There you go. Hold on here. Hold on. Terrence, boy, that's going to be some cheap shipping. You're just right up. You can come down here and get this, Terrence. You get a wire waffle. Whoop, whoop. Check it out. Tell everybody how it works. Okay, it's got removable pieces in here, so you can put like a 6.3 or an 8.3, whatever. Terrence, do me a favor. Send me an email. Let me know your mailing address and everything, and we will get this out to you, my friend. Wire waffle instant win. Boom. That's what I'm talking about. Wire waffle. Let me write that down. The waffle. See, Charlie? They're on the wheel. Don't be hating. All right? All right. Let's do another spin. Let's go. He said, waffles. Oh, come on, homie. Oh, Marge. Wire waffles. Ooh, donuts. Ooh.
Come on, man. Don't have a cow.
Shut up, Bart. Ooh. That's it, folks. That's all I got. Ooh, donuts.
Oh, come on, homie.
That's my impression of Simpsons, baby. David! What's up, David? All right, David, you're in the drawing for the conductor length card. Angle heart. So that says conductor length card. That will be neat to show your fellow folks down there, all your inspectors and everybody, how they can do measurements on their, or get accurate measurements on their wires. Give you something to talk about to those folks. Okay. Go nuts for donuts. Ooh. All right. Anyway. All right. Congratulations, David. Wow. I'm running out of space. I want some more giveaways. Let me do it. We're giving this stuff. We're putting people down. We're giving people opportunities, folks. Let's do another one, dude. I'm ready to give these giveaways. Let's go. I like giving stuff away. We will cover the shipping. We take care of it all. You don't have to do anything but be here. I'm just saying. Wire waffle. Carlos Martinez. All right, Carlos, you're in the drawing for conductor length card. These are neat. And by the way, here's what they look like. They are not cheap little plastic, little metal, whatever. These are thick, like a business. They're like thick as a credit card. And it talks about the process of determining the amount of length that's left on a reel or a coil. Works for NM, works for reels of wire, coils of wire. And you basically use your meter, but we teach you the process and we show you how to adjust for ambient temperatures, which can actually change the length of how much wire you actually have. So we do all of the shortcuts on the back. We show you how to do it. It's all in one card. And I'm telling you, folks, these are hefty, defty cards. They are not the cheap little ones that people give away and you buy. Those are nice cards, I'm saying. Let's go. All right, let's do some more giveaways. Again, another one. Dude, I'm jacked up on coffee today. What the hell? All right, I'm wound up. Folks on TikTok, hey everybody, we got the TikTok folks behind the scenes watching me go crazy here. You should be joining me over on the live stream. Charlie wants a waffle. David, you are in the... David, you didn't just order one of those, did you? All right, a conductor length card. You were in it too, David, so you're in the drawing for that conductor length card. Let's go again, folks. Let's give away some more. I'm doing rapid giveaways, folks, for all of you that join me. I appreciate you, okay? What's in my coffee? It is spiked today, bro. David Scott, there you go. David Scott, you're in the drawing to be one of our promotional ambassadors for Coffee Hour. You will get a limited edition Coffee Hour engraved NFC card. Yes, sir, it's engraved and NFC. If you win the drawing, you will get one of these to help promote us. And again, you can customize it and change it later if you want to change the programming. If you want to, like, all of a sudden don't want to be a hater and don't want to promote Coffee Hour. But anyway, this is designed to give out or to scan on other people's phones to help promote Coffee Hour. But you can also later program it to whatever you want. And it's free to program it. It doesn't take a brain surgeon to do it. We can even show you how to do it. Okay. So you're in the drawing for one of those NFC cards. Okay. All right. Let's do this spin again. Let's go. We got to get Charlie the waffle. Let's go. Wire waffle. You're most welcome, Jonathan, and I appreciate you being here. People can never say I don't. I do appreciate it. Dude, I'm running out of these promotional things here. So, Red, you are going to be in the drawing as well to get one of these NFC promotional cards. Again, you heard my spiel on it before. It is, I think, before we were selling these for like $99 programmed with your custom website on it. But here you can program and put whatever you want on it if you win it. But you are definitely going to be in the drawing for one of those. Okay? All right. Congratulations. Let's do it again. Let's go. Dude, I'm in the giveaway mode today. Let's go. Yeah, again, a lot of people might, I'm joking aside, later, because we'll have Coffee Hour on the front that you can show people, but really, if you put your website on it, with your contact information, then you can scan this. And I'll do a video and show people how that works. Beto, what's up? You are in the drawing for the Ultimate Decision coin. Y'all have heard me talk about that coin. That is the my favorite coin because it allows you to have yes or no, and I use it to make decisions. You're in the drawing for that Ultimate Decision coin. Somebody's going to win one this tomorrow, okay? And maybe you're in that drawing. All right, last one. Let's go. Last drawing today because I am over again, as I always am. I have to stop calling it Coffee Hour, by the way. So here we go. Let's do it. Come on. Put some Wire Waffle mojo on it. If you want a Wire Waffle, go to wirewaffle.com. Those guys, help them out. I am not endorsement. Okay? All right, Carlos. All right, Carlos, let me make sure you didn't just win that. No, you didn't. Okay, Carlos, you get a free immediate subscription to Fast Tracks Tube. All you got to do is go to fasttrackstube.com and sign up for a free account, and we will elevate you. Just send us your username, email it to us, use any of our emails are fine, or you can go to paulabernathy.com and send it that way as well. Let us know what your username is, and we will upgrade it to an annual membership, and then hopefully at the end of the year, you choose to renew it and be a part of the family moving forward. That's totally up to you. All right. Horendekyo. Okay, I gotta calm down. Gotta bring it back down. All right, folks. I appreciate all of you for joining me here on Coffee Hour. Hopefully it gets a start to your week or your day. I appreciate all of you. You have no idea. I do the things I do because I want to see you successful. I do. Like me or hate me, trash me, that's up to you. Haters are going to hate. At the end of the day, what I do is for you, whether you're a hater or not. What I do is to try to help you, educate you, give you a little insight. Nobody knows it all. Nobody knows it all. They can think they know it all, but they don't know it all. I don't know everything in that NEC. I learn something new every day, and I love to share it with you. Okay? So, till next time, folks, stay safe. God bless, and we will catch you on tomorrow's episode, special episode of Coffee Hour. Probably going to be a little longer than an hour. I'm just saying. So, make sure you're prepared. Contact Adam. He'll help you get a pint of coffee. Till next time, stay safe. Hey folks, did I trick you? Sometimes I tell folks, maybe you better hang around because you never know when Paul's going to pop back in. Guess what? We're giving away a free wire waffle right now. Ready? Wire waffle giveaway. Let's go. Wire waffle giveaway. Wire waffle giveaway. Let's go. Let's go. Who's going to win the wire waffle? Let's go. Wire waffle. Yes, I'm a 56-year-old man talking like a 15-year-old, but I don't care. Frank the Great, you get the wire waffle. Do me a favor, Frank. Reach out to me. Email us at info@electricalcodeacademy.com or info@fasttracksystem.com or go to paulabernathy.com. Frank the Great, reach out. You get a free wire waffle. Hold on, I didn't have that up. Woo! Wire waffle. It pays to hang around. You never know when I'm going to trick you. All right, I'm not going to do it again. Frank, reach out. If you're still here, you won a wire waffle for free. Test it out and give us the feedback. Peace, y'all. Appreciate you.